Hey, just a quick announcement. This is a special interview to me. It's my first in-person interview since COVID, since we're now in phase three. We did it in a coffee shop, but it was loud, so we had to take it to the car. But here you go. Enjoy.
Thank you for joining us for another Mentors Moment where we like to talk to those effectively helping tomorrow's youth today. My name is Tish, and this is Ariel.
Hi.
This month, she is a guardian ad litem. She's also a teacher's aide, and she's also in school for psychology. She's also on the board for Flipside Mentorship. So she makes a lot of the behind the scenes things and decisions happen. And now she is at the forefront, and we've got to talk to her. So, Ariel, let's touch base on the guardian ad litem.
Okay.
What is it?
So the Guardian Ad Litem is volunteer based, and we advocate for children who are going through the system.
Okay. And why is it important to you?
So it's important to me because growing up, I didn't have much of an advocate during my childhood, and especially in those situations that my family went through, and having that advocate could have changed the course of my life.
Mm-hmm. So you are going to be who you would have needed back then.
Yeah.
For others. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I know you were telling me earlier that the guardian ad litems really come into place when it comes to foster, whenever the foster care is that right?
Yes. So whenever child protective services are involved on a case, it doesn't necessarily have to be just the foster care system, but child protective services. Then we step in. There's a whole team that just advocates specifically for the child. The child has its own lawyer. The child has its own case manager, and then there is the volunteer based, which is where I come in and I do the actual one-on-one with them every month or a couple times a month, where I check up on them, make sure their living situation is good, make sure that they have everything that they need, and then if they need some type of medical or dentistry or really just anything in general from that to school, I advocate for the child to get those.
Wow. So, man, I think I could have used that as a kid. Not you saying all that.
Yeah.
And what I really love about this is that a lot of people, when child protective services are involved, they can seem like the bad guy that are just trying to take the kids, or just trying to, that really don't care. They're just a number, blah blah blah. We've heard it, and it's not like it doesn't happen. But with guardian ad litem, these are volunteers who truly care, and I know the caseworkers care too, but these are just people out of their own lives, ordinary people who said, you know what, I want to take the time to help somebody else who's in whatever transitions, right?
Yeah. I have kids ranging from 9 months old to 16 years old and in between, in all different sorts of situations. So, it just...
Now, is there a constant on how you build trust? How do you get a kid to actually talk to you when these are things that they've been, may not want to?
So that's why it's so important for the kid to understand that as their guardian ad litem, I am just for them. I am here for them. I am their voice, and that's it. It's not about the parents. It's not, about the, whoever they're with. I'm specifically just for the child. And once that kind of clicks for them, I know that they've been able to open up a little bit more, and trust more easily. And that's, why it's so important to do the face-to-face visits and be in constant contact with the child all the time.
And I know one of the things you told me was one of the biggest rewards to you was actually seeing them hit their own milestones.
Yes. So, like I said, I have a quite a few kids who I look after, but the biggest one for me is the 9-month-old that I've been looking after since he was 2 months old. Can't go into details, but this child has just blossomed like you couldn't imagine. The child, just started walking, and it is the happiest baby that you could ever imagine. And it's just so incredible to see, like, despite the baby's situation, how it hasn't affected the child at all.
Yeah. Well, maybe some.
Yeah.
So she also, like I said, is a teacher's aide. So do you want to say, you said second and pre-K?
Pre-K 4.
Okay, pre-K 4
Yeah.
at a Lutheran.
Yes, at a Lutheran school. So for me, that's important, is because my foundation is God,
Right.
and being able to have that not only in my workplace, but have that with my workplace and the children who, all of the school employees work with is so important, I think. And man, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
So tell me, like, how do you connect with those kids? Because you're talking about, I'm assuming, how many kids are in a class, roughly?
Because of COVID, class sizes are smaller, so
Right.
we have 11 in my second grade class,
Mhm.
and then 14 in my pre-K 4 class.
That's still a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So, and I can imagine, like, them vying for attention,
Mm-hmm.
and then also, especially that young, being distracted.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some techniques that you use to either kind of get them where they need to be, like aiding in the study, like the educational process of it all?
So being able to work closely not only with the kids but with the teacher, you're able to see which kids kind of need that more one-on-one time, and then which kids work better in a group.
Okay.
So there's a few who I work one-on-one with, and it's allowed them to not only feel comfortable but to thrive in their education.
Wow.
So that's, huge, being able to be a part of that.
So I think I can relate, obviously, in a smaller scale than you, but I think about just in my family and my kids in particular, that, like, they're individuals as well as a group, and so that it's really important to have somebody paying attention.
Yeah.
To give them their best foot forward, like to recognize that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would assume, and I don't know, but like what are some identifying factors, like if this person's shy and not shy, or what do you think?
It's definitely their body language.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're kids, but they do give
feelings.
off. Yeah, exactly. They give off body language. So for example, when I came in one day, the class normally is like, "Oh my gosh, Miss Ariel, Miss Ariel, hi, Miss Ariel." And there was one particular child who didn't do that this time. So, like, that immediately, like, tipped me off that her demeanor was, down. And so during recess, I kind of was like, "Hey, come over here." And I just kind of, was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on? Is there anything I can do?" And immediately, the child just kind of perked up, because, like, I noticed that I noticed that they were upset.
Right.
But most importantly, like, the fact that I came and consulted, the child about it definitely made all the difference.
Wow. So that's really cool, because you hear that whole, like, see something, say something, but you used it on, like, a really positive way, not just to notice, which is important. Number one, take note that something is different, but then to have a conversation about it and give them the opportunity and the safe space.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they don't take it, at least they know they were seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that little aspect right there, making a child know that they're seen, can make all the difference in the world. That is something I definitely realized since working with kids.
Yeah.
Is that little, because we get so distracted with like phones and this and that.
Right.
And so sometimes, like what I've noticed is the kids, just kind of feel ignored.
Right. And I'm kind of guilty of it myself. Sometimes it gets like that. I know back when COVID happened and I was trying to teach my oldest son, it was extremely hard for me because he got the last of me. I went to work all day, I'm already aggravated, have all these other things, and now I have to teach. And it wasn't until I think I pushed him super hard. I'm like, come on, we're gonna get this right. And he started crying, and now he actually is somebody who loves to learn. That I realized, like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
that's not fair to him to learn in. So setting the right environment and being conscientious of their feelings,
Definitely.
because they do have feelings.
They do have feelings.
They do have feelings. People are like, they're just a kid, but like kids feel a lot.
They feel so strongly because that's just kind of like the area that they're developing in.
Right.
So where we've already learned how to control our emotions and identify the way we feel, they're just now learning how to do all that. And that's something that as an adult you kind of forget.
Yeah.
And especially with teaching them, like, we're at that point as adults where we've already learned, so when you go to teach a kid, they really don't know any of it, so you're like already expecting them to just kind of get it.
Yeah.
But you kind of got to remember to take a step back and be like, okay, it's okay for them to mess up.
Yeah.
It's okay for them to not get it right on the first try, because they are learning, for the first time.
And I can imagine that it's got to keep your mind fresh, because like every day you have to look at it as somebody who's never looked at it before.
Yeah, and especially with my 4-year-old,
Yeah,
who I work with, definitely, because like they're really just learning for the first time. So you just kind of got to remember, like, okay, they don't know this. Like, I'm here to help guide them, in that process and make it fun and, make it something that they do want to latch on to.
Yeah. So, if you guys, man, that's so good. Like, take a pause and say that's so good. But how could you encourage parents, and I mean this is parents who have are going through that custody struggle or whatever the struggles are in the home that causing attention to be made to begin with, parents who are bringing their kids back to school, like how can you encourage parents to advocate, or what would you encourage them to make sure that they're the priority?
So the way I can suggest something is only by an outsider, because I don't have kids.
Right.
So for me to really like suggest it, a lot of times parents aren't going to want that advice coming from somebody who really doesn't understand the situation. But as an outsider looking in, I can definitely say is just remember to take a pause.
Yeah.
Take a pause and remember, like, the kid does understand everything that's going on. Maybe not to the full extent, but they do understand, and it's important to just be upfront and honest with them about the situation and talk to them, talk them through it.
Yes.
So one, they don't feel ignored, like you're making decisions without them, but two, they feel included.
Yeah.
Like they're a part of your life and not on the sidelines.
I love that. I really, really love that. Because again, as just adults, or especially adults going through extreme situations, the stressors that you have, you don't know what you're putting off.
Mm-hmm. And just from what I've noticed as that outsider is the children always pick up on it. Always. No matter if you think you're hiding it, from your bedroom behind closed doors, the children always pick up on it.
It's probably because you, like you were saying, they just feel so strongly.
Yeah, definitely.
So they don't, I would assume, yeah. Man, that makes sense, guys. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so, let me think. Well, tell me what your favorite part of being with kids is.
Gosh, there's so many, like, just the freedom that they have. Like, once you really stop and pay attention, you're able to see, like, the freedom that kids have, like, in life. So on Wednesday, it's gym day for my 4-year-olds, and they had, you know, their little scooters out where they could, you know, go around the gym on their tummies or, you know, on their bottoms and just scoot around, and like just the littlest thing, and it was just, they were just having the time of their life. They really were just laughing and smiling and just like, you know, like pushing off and then going wee, you know, like it was just the most excitingest thing. So I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna participate this time. And I went to one of the middle school classrooms and I got a rolly chair because I wasn't getting on the ground.
Let's not be crazy.
Yeah, let's not be crazy. But I got on the rolly chair and I just started like rolling around with them, you know, like I was a little, you know, fish in the sea with them. And oh my gosh, it was the most excitingest thing they saw. They were just so happy that I joined in with them, and it was just so much fun. But like that carefreeness that kids have is just absolutely the best.
Yeah. All right. So I have, this is actually my favorite question, so I'm going to ask it. What is the biggest lesson a child taught you?
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned personally just from this year working with kids is to live in the moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I'm especially guilty of this, like living in the past or looking too much to the future. Like I really did not take the time to just like be present and enjoy my surroundings and enjoy the people that I was with, because you're always thinking about, okay, when I get home I gotta do this, or tomorrow I gotta do this, or the load of laundry. And you know, just like with the wheels, you know, the little scooters, like I lived in the moment. It was like the best time I've had, you know. But you know, once I started living in the moment, like I could tell the kids started picking up on that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So that's cool. Well, that's it. See, interview down.
Yay!
All right, guys. Please make sure to subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and we will see you next month.